Welcome to the Organic Alternatives lecture for Plants, Humans, and the Environment course. So today we'll talk about organic agriculture and some of the techniques used for farming organically. Organic agriculture is different from conventional agriculture because it is without the use of synthetic chemicals. Conventional means typical or normal, and we use this word to describe industrial agriculture with use of pesticides and fertilizers because it is now the standard form of agriculture for commercial crops. Organic agriculture, on the other hand, is how we describe an approach that is different from the norm because chemicals aren't used. If a farmer isn't going to use pesticides or fertilizers, other techniques need to be used to do primarily two things. One, keep pests at bay, and two, to feed crops. In this lecture, we'll look at what can be done for pest control and to fertilize crops in the absence of synthetic chemicals. There are some strategies or techniques that an organic farmer should use in order to get a decent crop yield. They're listed here, including using a cover crop and a mulch, practicing crop rotation or mixed plantings, applying a manure or compost, reducing or eliminating tilling of the soil, and using biological pest controls. All of these techniques will have one foundation, and that's to maintain a healthy soil. Conventional agriculture feeds plants by applying chemical fertilizers to the soil simply to get those nutrients into a plant. Organic agriculture instead focuses on maintaining a healthy soil so that those nutrients are available in the soil for the crop. The soil is not just a place for plants to put their roots. Soil is a complex ecosystem with millions of microorganisms and other creatures that are an essential part of nutrient cycling. Chemicals or soil degradation will kill these organisms and consequently halt that cycle, making the soil nutrient deficient and unable to support plant life. So let's look at these techniques of organic agriculture in a little more detail to understand how they work. Cover crops and mulching will protect the soil from things that can degrade the soil, including erosion, water evaporation, or high temperatures. Bare soil without any plant cover is exposed and will not be protected from these forces that cause soil degradation. These practices will also improve the soil quality and nutrient availability for plants to grow. Planting a cover crop that will fix nitrogen means that the cover crop has the ability to extract nitrogen from the atmosphere and, with the help of soil bacteria, increase the nitrogen content of soil. Plants require sufficient amounts of nitrogen in the soil for plant growth. Mulch also adds nutrients to the soil, as organisms living in the soil break down the mulch and cycle those nutrients back into the soil. Crop rotation is the practice of growing different crops from one year to the next. This will also improve nutrient content of the soil and overall soil quality because different plants will remove from or add to the soil different compositions or amounts of nutrients. Planting the same crop in the same place year after year will deplete the soil of nutrients. It will also not help to build a good soil structure capable of supporting different kinds of root structures. Crop rotation also helps to keep the pests on their toes by moving their food source around. And it also promotes diversity of pest species and the predators that might help to control their numbers. This works best when complementary crops follow each other. You can't just plant any crop as part of the rotation. You have to know which plants deplete the soil and which enhance the soil. So knowledge of plant families is necessary to do this. Intercropping is the practice of planting different crops in alternating bands, and companion planting is planting sets of different crops together as a group. The effects of this are similar to those of crop rotation. It maintains soil quality and controls pests and diseases. it can also be a way to increase ground cover while still growing a crop at the same time. Conventional agriculture delivers nutrients directly to plants with chemical fertilizers. Organic fertilizers are derived from recently living organisms and are applied to the soil to improve soil fertility and ultimately provide food for the crop. Maintaining a healthy, thriving soil ecosystem will not only provide nutrients for the crops, but will also provide the structure and physical properties of soil. For example, moisture retention or pH. It has been established that organic fertilizers can satisfy the nutrient, particularly nitrogen demands of crops, and are not of lesser effect than chemical fertilizers. Organic fertilizers include compost, which is what we get when organic material is converted into nutrient-rich soil by organisms decomposing that material, or crop residues, like the leftover corn stalks after a corn harvest, or even fresh vegetation that will slowly break down and deposit nutrients into the soil. Rather than composting these and then applying the compost to the soil, these materials would just be left in the field to decompose over time. Or manure, either composted or directly deposited by grazing animals in seasons when the field is not planted with a crop. Composts and manures also act as a mulch, protecting the soil, in addition to providing nutrients to the soil. Another consideration is direct degradation of the soil by farm machinery and the cultivation, maintenance, and harvest of crops. Tilling is the preparation of land for cultivation, or planting of the crop. This involves breaking up the soil and turning it over to expose fresh soil for planting seeds. In the process, crop residues left over from previous harvest are removed or broken up and turned into the soil. On an industrialized farm, this process is done with heavy machinery and ultimately degrades the soil structure and quality by compacting the soil and impacting the soil ecosystem. No-till farming would utilize the crop residue as a compost or mulch and simply plant the seed in the undisturbed soil that hasn't been tilled. Biological pest control is a method of controlling pests by using other organisms. This can only be done if there are enough organisms living there. So to accomplish this, a farmer would manage the farm to promote the biodiversity of organisms so that natural predation can help keep pests from getting established. And this concludes the lecture for organic agriculture, alternatives to modern agriculture or industrial agriculture.